Hi, my name is Fontaine and I'm a LinnStrumentalist, and welcome back to episode 2 of my series Fontaine's Fingerfood, where I get to share my approach to playing and performing with a LinnStrument. So today, first of all, I would like to say thank you for all the new subscribers and people who watched the last video, and the feedback has been fantastic and really encouraging, and actually um, kind of motivated me to probably expand this series out to with a fourth video, because I got a lot of questions and remarks, and yeah, I thought, okay, it might be advantageous to try and add some more information to the series. So watch out for the fourth video that will be coming as well. Um, and yeah, if you like this type of content, yeah, maybe you should write down in the comment box below, and any ideas of how maybe I could even go beyond that, a fourth episode. If that's something that you would enjoy, then yeah, please feel free to comment. Now today I'd like to present a concept of mine called the eight-fingered hand. And no, it's not some sort of obscure kung fu maneuver or the villainous organization out of a spy movie. VR's eight-fingered hand. It's not anything like that. It's a bit more simple, and it's about two-handedness and two-handed playing. And I have been hearing a lot of interesting comments about being a single-handed player or being a two-handed player, and it always kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, because I know that for the most part, most instruments, and there are obviously exceptions to this, most instruments are set up to be played with two hands. And it's not about, I think when we think about the piano, for example, often it's, that one particular role is assigned to the left hand and one particular role is assigned to the right hand. Now, if you take an instrument like the guitar, it also has a left hand and a right hand, two-handed playing, but the roles that these hands are assigned are very different. Yeah. The piano, you might have typically, bass and harmonies being played with the left hand, and melodies, solos and stuff like that being played with the right hand. Or with the guitar, that's a very different way of approaching two-handedness, because you have the left hand, which is responsible for harmonies and melodies, but those notes aren't actually actuated by the left hand, but by the right hand. So, the whole idea of two-handed playing, you have to kind of look at what instrument we are going from, and the roles of the left and the right hand. Now, this is kind of where the idea of the eight-fingered hand was born, is that I was trying to figure out the best way to bring chord melody playing in a keyboard, with a keyboard concept, closer to chord melody playing from a guitar point of view. And that's what I want to talk to you today about, and show you exactly what I came up with in my eight-fingered hand concept. So I'm going to set the camera up and give you an overhead view, and then I'll hopefully give you some concrete examples about what I mean. Okay, here we go. And through the magic of television, here we are. So I want to start off this section of the video by kind of differentiating the different types of two-handed playing. So how two-handed playing works on a piano, typically, or keyboard instrument, and also an idea of how we would approach two-handed playing on a guitar, to underline the differences, so we can see how we can fuse these things together, when performing and playing with a LinnStrument. Okay, so obviously when we talk about the piano, like I was saying earlier in the video, often we have the roles of the left and right hand assigned. Typically, the left hand will be playing a bass part and probably outlining some chords. Yeah, something to that effect, or some combination of those. And the left hand, or sorry, the right hand would be performing melodics or some sort of solo or something. Giving us that combination, clearly delineated, left hand doing this, right hand doing that. Now, when we are talking about the guitar, we obviously don't have the same separation of the hands. Each hand has a different type of roll. Now, if we're looking at a guitar neck, once again, I'll do my famous Fontaine's arm as a guitar neck thing here. So we have our hand like this, and we typically, only have 4 fingers available for chording notes and playing melodies. Yeah, there's a hint there that we have 4. 4 is half of 8, thus the 8-fingered hand. We start integrating 2 hands together. We have pretty much double the capacity, or more even, to actuate and play notes and chord notes at the same time, which is something that from the guitar world, it doesn't happen. This left hand is playing notes, chording notes, but it's not actually actuating the notes. That's done by the right hand. So unless, of course, you're tapping, that's a whole nother story. Okay. And this makes for an interesting, to be able to combine these two worlds together in an interesting way is the heart of the 8-fingered hand. I want to go back and show just an example of what I mean as far as where this becomes kind of important. And we're going to look at the LinnStrument surface here, and we'll take a simple C major 7 chord, which would normally be played on a keyboard, say with the left hand like this. Take this down here. And as you see, I'm already in a bit of a pickle because I can't reach this major 7th that I need right here. It's very difficult. I already have to employ my right hand to help me out if I'm just playing, of course, linearly along one string. Now, if we go into the vertical axis, like we talked about in the last video, this does help. It's a little bit tricky, at least for my hands, to do that. So once again, the easiest method would be to employ help from my right hand, But by doing that, we've already left kind of the typical keyboard territory, especially if you do a voicing something like this. This already puts us in outside of keyboard territory, because as you see, I've got one of the fingers of my right hand is actually playing a note that's lower than the voicing in the note in my left hand. So they're actually splitting up the work of voicing this chord, and that's actually okay. It might seem like, but that's a good thing. I'll show you why. That's just one possibility for voicing that chord. We can also voice it along those lines. If we were to do a one-hand version of that voicing, right? These are all possible. But what's interesting is when you combine both hands, for example, in this way, it gives me the option. If I do the most basic of the voicing of the C major, and I'm just taking the 10th, which actually is the 3rd, obviously, or the octave like that, putting the 7th here, this gives me the option to play extensions of that chord with the right hand. For example, adding the 9th and the 6th, which is very nice quality. Or just adding the 5th from this side and the 9th. Okay. Now, once again, that gives us lots of options for um, uh, having inner voices of the chord act in a more melodic way. Yeah. Something to that effect. And this is actually more along the lines of how we would do it on a guitar. Yeah. Because the guitar, I have to remember, the guitar is limited in its polyphony. I mean, on a standard guitar, we are limited to basically 6 notes. Yeah. And the way so when we're playing a chord and we're playing chord melody stuff, often we have to kind of utilize the notes that we're voicing within the chord as melody notes as well, instead of having them be separated by, right hand is playing up here and the left hand is playing here. Everything has to kind of happen within this space, this compacted space where the chords and melody are voiced, yeah. And this is what the 8-fingered hand is about. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe give a small example. We're just taking that C major 7 chord and that voicing. We can even do it like that. Once again, playing some extensions. And you'll notice, like I said, the notes with the left and right hand are just kind of throwing notes back and forth. I mean, as far as like the responsibility here, we've got the tonic here, the 5th. We're playing the major 7th. We're playing the tonic again. We're playing the 3rd. We're playing the 5th. Yeah. Here's something very interesting. These ring fingers are sharing the same note. So this is probably a good point in the video to speak to a subject that one of the viewers had mentioned, Alex, who's also a member of the LinnStrument forum, and it concerns the chromatic percussion DNA of the LinnStrument, and particularly how that what effect that has on being able to play rolls and repeated notes. So I've got a little example I'm going to show you. Okay, enjoy. Yeah, so performing rolls and fast repeated notes on the LinnStrument it can be a bit of a challenge, because due to the size of the pads, it doesn't always let you, at least in my case, and my fingers are a little bit, I have pretty standard average size fingers, but I still find it a bit of a challenge to get in there and get fast repeating notes. And I have other controllers, like the Force or the Launchpad, which have slightly larger pads, give you a little bit more real estate. So my solution to that has always been using once again, going into the vertical, taking advantage of the fact that these notes are repeating, and treating it as like a chromatic percussion instrument, a mallet instrument, just like you would, play mallets between hands, with 2 hands like that. And let me just give you an example of how that might sound. That's something very interesting as well to keep in mind. A lot of people have been, there's a known, I'm going to say, physical anomaly in the LinnStrument that where you're not allowed, it's not possible. It's a physical limitation as far as the sensor technology is concerned, where it's not possible to form chords that make a square or a rectangle. So in this case, this note here is not being sounded. It's not sounding, okay? Now, I've never found this to be a major problem because this note is available here. So if I were going to voice something, I have that finger available to me. I could do it like this. So this is the equivalent of all those down here like this. Yeah. There's also another thing that that can also be applied is the limitation on the LinnStrument sensor is that you can't play more than 3 notes along the vertical axis. That's not possible. So if I want to access this note, sorry, it's available here. And actually, I find that to be really convenient because I've got this hand available to me, and it allows me, it allows me to take that note and put it in my right hand. Some people view it as a disadvantage. For me, that's a big advantage because it becomes a melodic component that I can use. So what I want to kind of stress is that if we're looking at the left hand as kind of giving the more basic meat and potatoes part of a chord voicing, and then using the right hand to intermingle the what we call the extensions of the upper structures or of the chord, the colors of the chord. And the way these things can intermingle with each other once you start doing stuff like arpeggiations. So, with it, what I'd like to stress is that we always have this idea of two-hand independence or hand independence, and it's a bit of a unicorn, to be perfectly honest. I mean, unless you're playing a Bach cantata with your left hand and you're playing Charlie Parker with your right hand at different tempos, there's no such thing as hand independence. If each of these hands are contributing to making one piece of music flow and work, then then I think a more accurate description would be interdependence. And that's what, coming from, more guitaristic concept, the idea and understanding of interdependence of how these hands work together, how your hands and your fingers mash into each other to make a piece of music work is a useful basis, for getting your head around the 8-fingered hand concept, because it's about the interdependence of the hands and the fingers and not the independence thereof. Yes, and that hopefully give you some food for thought. We're going to expand on this in the next video when I introduce the finger zone technique, so stick around. Well, time flies when you're having fun. That's all we have for today, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. stay tuned for the next video where I get to present, I'm going to present an expansion of this whole concept from today. It's called the finger zone technique. Probably mentioned it earlier in the video. And if you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and you'll get a notification as to when the next video is going to hit. Check out Stephen Barnard's videos if you get a chance, and subscribe to his channel as well. He's putting out some great content, LinnStrument learning content. And once again, all these will be linked on Roger Lynn's tutorials playlist. So have a pleasant day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.